Hello, my name is Brittany and welcome to Family Fridays Paint Night. A few words before we begin. Thank you for your continued interest and support for this workshop. You can expect a new video every third Friday of the month for the foreseeable future until we can resume classes in person at the Art and Spirituality Center. Speaking of which, there are other classes being held virtually if you're interested in taking any of those. I'll leave the link to our virtual calendar in the description box below. As a reminder, my class was made to promote bonding between family and friends. You do not need to be an artist to enjoy art. My art isn't perfect, so don't think yours needs to be either. To all those participating in this activity, I want you to try your best and don't worry about the outcome. My hope is for you to let go, get lost in the artistic process, and forget about what's currently happening in the world, even just for a little bit. One last thing before we begin. Feel free to pause, rewind, fast forward, mute, or do anything you need in order to follow along with this video. I normally take over 3 hours to complete a painting, even though my class runs about 2.5 hours. For the sake of time and to make a short video, the clips you see of me painting are sped up significantly. Please, by all means, relax and take your time. I hope you enjoy. Let's get started. Here is what we will be painting for November of 2021. Disclaimer, this is not my original artwork as I found it somewhere on the internet. I do not take credit for this concept and I wish I could find the original artist to give credit. Think of this as a study of the original artwork. As we await Thanksgiving next week and the holiday season, here we have a scene of pumpkins, sunflowers, and other greenery inside a red wagon that says fall. Feel free to take artistic control, change the colors, make additions or adjustments, or change it up completely. The choice is yours. Alright, let's talk about paint. We'll be using acrylic paint for this activity. You can use the fancier, more expensive paints if you want to. For this project, I'll be using paints you can find at your local craft store or even Walmart that are less than $1. We'll need a few colors: white, brown, red, orange, yellow, blue, green, and black. We'll need a few brushes today: a large flat brush, a medium flat brush, a small flat brush, a medium round brush, and a thin detail brush. Some other materials we will need: something to put under the canvas or canvas board, such as a tablecloth or newspaper. You can also use a matte board like this one I've used several times. Of course, you need something to paint on. I personally will be using a canvas board, 12 by 16 specifically. You can also use an actual canvas of any size too. Then we have our paints. You'll need a plate to put the paint on. You can also use a palette if you have one. A water cup to clean your paintbrushes. And lastly, a paper towel or an old towel. I'm using an old towel that I have used for other paintings, as you can see here. Okay, order of operations, how this painting will go. First, we're going to work on the background, then everything up front. Starting from the background, we're going to focus on the middle part. It's going to be an off-white with some streaks of brown. Then the sides, we're just going to do streaks of brown, going to kind of make it look as rustic as possible. Next, we're going to sketch out the wagon. I'm measuring about thirds of the page, so that bottom third will be the top of the wagon. Gonna make a nice little oval shape, and about 2 inches down we'll make the base of our wagon. Then from there we will do the wheels, and then we will draw out 4 pumpkins, starting with this first one. We're gonna make a nice little M shape, then some little mounds, and then the center parts. Same with the one on the left, nice little M, and then nice little M. After that, we will draw out the handle. Then we will paint these pumpkins in this order. Then after that, we will paint the wagon. After the wagon, we will paint the wheels and all the details, and then the handle. After all that is dry, we will draw out fall in cursive. After that's all dry, we will sketch and paint out all of our little twigs and greenery. After that, we will do the leaves. After the leaves, we will do these little berries. After the berries, we will do these nice little flower buds. After the flower buds, the nice little sunflowers. And then lastly, these nice little white dots for baby's breath. And then last minute details, we'll just do some vines coming from the stems of the pumpkins. And then the very last detail, we will do the shadow that is underneath the wagon. Alright, so let us begin. First, I'm going to start off by pouring out some white paint and some brown paint. And together, both of those are going to be the center of our background. So right now, I'm just going to basically do a layer. Doesn't have to be blended in completely at all. I actually want to see the streakiness and the brush strokes. I'm trying to go for a rustic feeling, make it look a little woodsy, just so it matches our theme of fall and our pumpkins and our greenery. So right now I'm just going to do the center. It's going to kind of look beigey, a little bit white, a little bit brown. And then coming from the corners, the left and the right side of our canvas, I'm going to, with my large flat brush, do some streaks coming towards the center with my brown. You'll see here that when I am doing that, my streaks aren't as dark as I want to. That's just because when it's mixed with the white paint, it gets lighter. So you're going to see me going back and forth to get it as dark as I want to. Kind of looks like burnt edges. I'm just trying to match our reference picture is all. So you can do it as light as you want to, as dark as you want to. You don't have to do the burnt edges if you don't want to. You can leave the background just that nice beige color. You can change it up. It is all up to you. So right now I am just going to work on the burnt edges and our background color. Alright, so disregard this part right here. I'm actually getting a head start on doing the shadow that's going to be underneath the wagon, but we're actually going to draw it out first. So I'm measuring about 2/3 down from the canvas. I'm just using my paintbrush as a marker. I'm going to do the top of the wagon. So right now I'm just doing a nice little line and then the rim right here. And then I'm going down about 1.5 to 2 inches for the base of the wagon. So it's a nice little curved rectangle. And then I'm going to draw 2 large circles. And right here I was actually just freehanding them, but coincidentally and to my delight, this was basically the size of one of my big bottles of acrylic paint. So on this other wheel, I'm going to go ahead and trace that out. So right now, let's just do our wagon and our 2 wheels. And then from there, we will start doing the rail or start doing the handle for the wagon. Okay, so now we're going to start drawing out our pumpkins. So first we're going to do the center pumpkin, which is the blue one. So I'm going to start with making a little circle and then a nice little M shape. Kind of looks like McDonald's arches a little bit, or like a bird, how I do my birds. So a nice little M shape. And then from that little pinpoint, that little center piece, just going to do some other little curved marks. And then just to make it look like it's tilted and a little bit 3D, we're going to make some of those other little sections of the pumpkin. So more little M's and then the center piece as well. So then we're going to go to our right one. So this one is a little bit tilted. So my M is tilted. Then I'm going to do the center on the right and the left, and then one in the middle. And then from here, I'm kind of making a nice little pizza shape or a pie shape, a little pie slice in the middle. And then those 2 rounded parts right there. So there's 3. And then now the one on the left, nice little circle. The left part of the M, then the right part of the M. Then our left curved line, right curved line, then one from the middle. We're going to do our nice little pie slice, and then our part on the right, and then our part on the left. And then we're going to do the same thing on the pumpkin that is in the back, and that's going to be the tallest one. So you can make these whatever shapes that you want to. It was actually fun discovering my technique on how I'm going to do my pumpkins. So now I know a different way on how to draw pumpkins. That's always fun to learn something new. So you can do it as lopsided as you want to, as bumpy as you want to. You can do so much with pumpkins. Pumpkins come in all different shapes and sizes. So I'm very curious, once again, if you do have us on Facebook or Instagram or have our email or anything like that, please, please, please take a picture of what you do and send it to us, because we would love to see your artwork and we would love to post it on all of our social medias if we have your permission. So please, I would love to see your work. So right now I'm just doing that back pumpkin, and then soon we will get started on painting. And right here I am just sketching out where our 2 sunflowers will be. Okay, I do apologize here. I'm apologizing in advance. I am using a new um, editing software. Before I was using iMovie on my Apple, my MacBook, and now I'm using something on my Windows. So two different platforms, and also I'm using my phone to record. But something was off with the lighting. So this is actually the true colors that you see. It's a little bit warm. The colors that you saw before and the clips that you will see after, it kind of looks like something was recorded with the flash on, or it was just like really bright in the room that I was recording. I apologize. This is the true color. So you're going to get a really orangey orange and a more yellow and a more reddish orange pumpkin. So just keep that in mind. But right now, um, we are going to first outline all of our pumpkins, just because with all of the blending, we might lose our original lines. So right now, I'm starting with that back pumpkin. I did it just whatever orange I had. This pumpkin, I'm doing in a brown. The one on the left, I'm doing a yellow. And then the one in the center on the bottom, I'm doing like a light blue. So right now I am just outlining all of our pumpkins, then we will start blending them in. Okay, so now that we have our outlines painted, so this is what I was talking about. So now it looks a little bit like it's really bright in the room, but it looks a little bit lighter, and that's not the actual color. The actual color is a lot warmer, and you'll see that well, you did see that in our before picture, and you'll see it again once we're done. But anyways, right here, I am just going to be painting a base layer, a base coat on all of our pumpkins. So I'm just going to do a light color first. So a lightish orange, and then for the yellow, a lightish yellow, and then for the other pumpkin, a darker orange, and then for the blue, a lighter blue. And then once we have a base coat, that's just easier to do more blending on, and the paint will stick to that paint better than how it would be with just the white paint. Then we'll go in the details, but right here I am going in on the details a little bit. So I'm just going to be adding a few colors. We have some orange in there, some yellow in there, and some white. And I'm just trying to get it as kind of realistic as possible, just to give it a little bit of dimension. The center of all of those sections of the pumpkin should be lighter, because that's where the light hits, just to make it seem like it's round and 3D. And then once it gets closer to like the little crevices, it'll be a little bit darker. So right now, just have fun with it. Just doing some orange, some yellows, and some whites. And if you wanted to make it darker, you can even add a little bit of red in there. And yeah, so right now we're just going to be doing our orange pumpkin. But we'll continuously be going back and forth to paint it to our liking. So this might take you 5 minutes, but it might take somebody else 10 minutes, or like me, a little bit longer than that. So take your time, have fun with it, mix up the colors. Doing the pumpkins, I predict, will be the thing that takes the longest. So take your time and have fun. Enjoy the music. I'm back already. So I poured out some yellow paint. So for this pumpkin, the base of it is going to be a light yellow, and then I'm going to get in with a darker yellow and a little bit of orange just to make it a little bit of a yellow-orange color. So I'm going to go in with the yellow, orange, yellow, and whites just to give this one a little bit of dimension. Okay, and this pumpkin on the left is going to be our warmest pumpkin and the darkest pumpkin. So I'm going to go in and pour out some red as well. So it's going to be orange, red with a little bit of yellow in it. So on the edges, it'll be on the edges closer to our outline, our brown outline. It'll be more of that red orange, and then getting closer to the center, it'll be just a lighter orange and then yellow. So the base coat, I'm just going to be doing an orange, and then I'll go in with the details. So again, a red, orange, orange, and yellow. Okay, so for the next portions of this video, you're going to see me outlining once again these pumpkins in the original colors that we did, just to bring back the outlines that we first painted. And I'm again just going to be going in with those same colors and just blending it more, just getting it just the way that I like it. So right here I'm outlining in the orange, then I'm going to go back in with some orange and some yellow and just mixing it to my liking. I'm going to do the same thing with the pumpkin on the right. I'm going to outline it in the brown and then get that red, orange-ish brown close to those edges, and then mix it in with some orange, mix it in with some yellow, Same with the yellow pumpkin, more yellow, orange, and white. I'm just blending it just to my liking, and then I will check back in when we are ready to start the blue pumpkin. Okay, welcome back. So now we are going to start our blue pumpkin. So I just mixed whatever blue I had with white and just to give it that base color. And then once again, I will go in with just that regular blue color and then more white. We're just going to make this a light blue pumpkin. And I hope that you did survive doing the other three pumpkins. And I'm curious to know if anybody changed the colors too. Maybe a green pumpkin or a purple pumpkin or a pink one. I would love to see the creativity out there. So please let us know if you did that, and I would love to see it. So right now, just going to finish with our pumpkins, and then from there, we will move on to the wagon. Don't mind me. Right here, I'm just repainting the lines that I already did, just because I felt like those original outlines were a little too dark for how light our pumpkin is. So I just felt like these colors matched a lot better. And here is what the colors actually look like. So I apologize again. I don't know what happened with my camera, but that's the color it should be. You see that pumpkin on the right, just all of them are just more warm. So it's really orangey, that top pumpkin's really orange, the one on the right is more red, then that one is clearly yellow, and then the blue is a nice light color blue. So that's the colors I was going for. I wish you could have seen me painting that in real time. But anyways, now we're going to move on to the wagon. So first I am just going to add our base layer. I'm going to make it as solid as possible. This might require you to paint a couple of layers to get it not as translucent, but I'm going to do that off camera. So when we come back, it's going to be all nice and solid. So now that the painting is all nice and done for the red, I went already in the pumpkins and I actually made the centers a little bit darker just because our stem is going to go there, and it's kind of supposed to give the illusion that it's sunken in. So I went ahead and did that with those pumpkins. And now for the wagon, we're going to do the shadows. So I'm going to pour out some black, and I'm going to make sure that my red is still good and still wet. So right now I'm doing an outline of the bottom of the rail, and then I'm going to trace that out with my thin detail brush and black. And I'm kind of going to be working with the red and black together while they're still wet, and that's one of the easiest ways to blend things, is to have both colors be wet and workable at the same time. So right now I'm just going to go in with my black and then go in with my red and just blend it together. It does look a little dark right here, but I'm going to continue going in with more and more red and make it lighter. So right now the top part of the wagon, this little rail, I'm doing the center with a little bit of white as well, just to give it the illusion that it's sticking out and it's round and the light is hitting it. So I'm just going to work on that, have some red, I'm going to add some white as well. And we're going to do that same technique with the rest of the wagon. I'm going to make it look, we're going to trace it out in the black and then go in with like a burgundy red, which is just the red and the black mixed together just to give it a little bit of shadow. And then the center of the wagon will be where it's more red, where it's pure red. So right now we're just going to be working on our wagon. Okay, now that the wagon is painted with the shadows and everything, we're going to sketch out where we want the hardware and the handle of the wagon to go. So this hardware is supposed to go right underneath the wagon, and then the handle is going to be almost leaning right against the pumpkin. So what's underneath is going to be pretty straight, and then the handle part's going to be a little bit curved. And now we are going to paint out our wheels. So the wheels, with my thin detail brush, I'm just going to first paint these circles a solid black. So the wheel on the left, the wheel on the right, and then the handle, I will paint a solid black. Okay, so now we're going to work on the details of the wheel. So I'm going to mix a light gray and a very, very dark gray. With my very, very dark gray, I'm just going to do a nice little outlined circle, just like that. Kind of messed up on the left side, but we'll eventually fix it. And then in the very, very center, we're going to use our lightest gray, and then we will do some details with an even lighter gray and white. So right now, we're just going to do circles with our darkest gray, and then the centers with our lightest gray. Okay, so with my thin detail brush and my white, I'm just going to do a couple little details on the wheels just to make it look like they are shiny, a little bit like they're rotating. So I'm following kind of in a diagonal shape. I'm going to do a nice curved line following the shape of the wheel. I'm going to do a longer line and then a shorter line, longer line, then a shorter one and shorter one. And then in the center, I'm just going to do 2 details as well. Kind of looks like a happy face, actually. And then while we're still here working on the pumpkins, I'm going to go ahead and do the stems using the darkest gray that I have. Just going to do some nice little curved lines. You can do some that are twisted more. This next one that I'm going to do is going to look more like a candy cane shape. So stems as well as pumpkins come in all different shapes and sizes and colors. So feel free to have creative control and just do whatever you want. And then after that, I'm going to do a nice little white detail just to give it a little bit of a highlight so it's not a completely dark brown. So after the brown is dry, I'm going to go in with the white. And now one last detail to do on the wagon. I already off camera sketched this out because my cursive sometimes isn't the best. But right front and center of the wagon, I wrote out fall in cursive. So now I'm going to trace that. You don't have to do this if you're not too fond of your penmanship or your cursive. You can write it in print. You don't have to write anything at all. But again, I was just going off of the reference picture. So I did fall in cursive, and then going off from the L and then off from the F is a nice little curved line. Off camera, I went ahead and fixed that up. So that's what that looks like. So now we are almost done with this painting. Can you believe it? This is one of the longest ones that I've done in a while because it has so much detail. But right now we are going to work on our little twigs, then the greenery, and then we'll do all of the stuff up front. So with my thin detail brush and brown, I'm just going to put some twigs coming out from behind the pumpkin, and that is going to have our berries on it. So just like how we did with some of the trees in our other paintings, we're just going to do a nice little curved line, and then coming off from some of those branches, little Y shapes. So whenever I do twigs, I just think of the letter Y. A Y here, and then another little Y coming from that Y, etc., etc. So I'm just doing some from the left of the yellow pumpkin, in the corner of the yellow and orange pumpkin, and then some coming off from the reddish pumpkin. So you can do as many or as less as you want to. If you're not sure about the spacing, you can just do a couple and you can always add more. So right now we're just going to do the brown twigs. And while we're here with the brown paint, I'm going to go ahead and paint out the centers of the sunflowers. Okay, and now we're going to work on the greenery, and the greenery will be the leaves and the stems that are behind our little rosebuds or our little tulip buds that we'll be painting. So similarly to our twigs, we're just going to make some curved lines, not necessarily with the Y's, just some curved lines. So first I'm just going to map out where those are, and then we're just going to add leaves on them. The leaves to me are just kind of like the shape of a raindrop, just flipped upside down. Or if you want to think of an oval that's pointy at the top, you can think of that. So on all of these green stems that we're doing is where the leaves will go. So first I will start with the one on the top, and then just leaves coming from the center of those. But also don't forget to add the leaves on the sunflowers, just like how I'm doing here. So you'll see, kind of looks like a raindrop right there, pointy at the top. So I actually wanted to make the leaves just a slightly different color. So I'm making it more of a yellow-green than anything. Still a little bit dark. Right here, I was just testing out a color and it was a little too dark for my liking. So I'm going to go ahead and make it a little bit darker. So again, starting from the top, nice little raindrop shape. And then from the center, we're going to do all the little leaves. And then mirroring the other side, I'm just going to do the leaves right on the other side. So you could do them as dispersed as you want to. You have one here, have one there. I just like symmetry, so that's why I'm doing mine like this. So right now I am just going to work on all of our greenery. So just the stems and all the little leaves that come on with it. Okay, now we will go ahead and pour out some blue for the berries. I am choosing to do a different color blue, more of a cobalt blue. If you just have one blue, the same one that you use for the blue pumpkin, that is totally fine. I think these are berries. You might think they're flowers, but I'm just gonna think of them as berries. I'm just gonna do circles just to make my life easier and everyone else's life easier. So on the edge of some of these twigs and some just floating off from these little twigs, I'm gonna do circles in various sizes, some bigger than others, some medium, and just some little dots, just trying to fill up as much space as possible just so it looks a little bit more full. So right now, we're just going to do all of the little berries on all of our twigs. And while my berries are still a little bit wet, I'm going to go ahead and go in with a little bit of white and just mix both of those colors together just to make the illusion again that these are berries and they're more spherical, they're circular, and they have a little highlighted point that's more shiny. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. You can just leave it a plain solid blue if you want to, but I really like how it looks with the blue and the white mixed together. So right now I'm just going to add in that little detail. All right, we are almost done. So now where I did all of the greenery and a little bit of where I did the sunflowers, I'm going to go ahead and add these nice little reddish, pinkish flower buds. They could be either rosebuds to you or the kind of like little tulips. So it's kind of like a U shaped and it has like kind of like zigzags at the top, just supposed to be like as pointy as possible, just to make it look like petals. So I'm going in with red and then I'm mixing it in with white just to give it a little bit of dimension and to make it look pink. I'm not taking my time with this at all, so it doesn't have to be perfect. This is just giving the illusion that there's flowers there, and it's really meant to just give the painting a little bit more color. So right now we are just going to add in our rosebuds. Again, we're going to do it on the greenery where we first did it around the pumpkins and things like that. And then I will also add some around the sunflowers too. All right, so close to being done. So now we are going to do the sunflowers, and I apologize again with the weird lighting of this. You can't really see these petals very well, especially with the yellow against the yellow pumpkin. So that's why right here I'm going to add a little bit of white just to kind of give it a little bit of a base to work with, and so the yellow can go easily on top of that. So we've done flowers so many times, probably every other painting is a flower, and I apologize. I just love flowers so much that those are my favorite things to paint, and I hope they are yours too. So again, similar to how we did the leaves, that's how we're doing the petals, just a nice little pointed oval. So I'm going to do probably about 6 or 7 petals per flower. I'm going to mix it with a little bit of yellow, a little bit of brown, a little bit of white. You can do a different color flower if you want to. If you feel that you can't see the yellow against all of the yellow and orange pumpkins, totally understand. But right now, just going off of the reference picture, I am doing a yellow sunflower mixed with brown and white. And then I will go over the center again, just to make it more circular once again. Okay, and this is my favorite part. With my medium round brush and white, I am just basically filling in some of the empty spots, and that's really going to fill up the painting. So I'm thinking this is baby's breath. Baby's breath are these little tiny white flowers, so I'm just filling it in around the rosebuds, around the berries, and the little spots in between the pumpkin as well. And I really feel like this completes the painting, and it just fills it up, and wow, beautiful, stunning. So right now I'm just going to have fun with all of these little baby's breath dots. Okay, we're pretty much done. Can you believe it? Ah! Okay, so I'm gonna pour out some green paint because I'm pretty sure mine is dry already at this point. So with my thin detail brush, I'm going to add a few leaves to some of my sunflowers that need it. And then from the center where the stems of the pumpkins are, I'm going to paint out some nice little curly cues from the center, and that's going to serve as some vines of the pumpkins that we sometimes see. And then the very last detail, I'm going to go again with my brown and my medium round brush. I'm just going to make the shadow underneath the wagon. So I'm just going to go make nice little horizontal lines, just kind of going down into the shape of a triangle, just make it look like a little shadow. And that is it, my friends. Good job if you made it this far and completed the painting. I'm happy with my finished product and I hope you are with yours too. If your painting looks different from mine, that is totally fine. As you know, I miss everyone and I really wish I were with my Family Friday class painting alongside them. I'm also happy to know that more people have had the chance and opportunity to do art safely at home and on their own time. I hope these videos bring you joy and you were able to relax and not worry about the current events of the world, even just for a little bit. Please stay safe, have a great rest of your weekend, and a happy holiday. I'll see you next time.